Gifted of us all. What a compliment. It's been a good year for CD so far. 556 yards and 3 touchdowns, but looking for a big day against the Green Bay Packers today, where we find our Ed Werder. Ed, I know you've been working hard out there at Lambeau. I know you just spoke to Mike McCarthy. What did he tell you?
Yes, Sam, it was about an hour ago that Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy walked out of the visiting team locker room and onto the playing surface here at Lambeau Field. McCarthy told me he's not expecting running back Ezekiel Elliott to play because of his hyperextended right knee. Not worth the risk with the Cowboys playing 3 games the next 12 days. He needs another week, McCarthy told me. McCarthy also shared that until this morning, he had not been in the visiting locker room since the 2000 season as a Saints assistant coach. McCarthy was accompanied to the field by equipment manager Bucky Buchanan as they evaluated the condition of the turf and checked the wind conditions. McCarthy's urged players for weeks to begin breaking in their 7-stud cleats, which players dislike because they can be uncomfortable. McCarthy's 13 years of Green Bay experience may be providing a practical advantage today to the Cowboys. And Sam, a final note on the Packers. Spoke to head coach Matt LaFleur last night. When I asked about the significance of Aaron Rodgers' injured right thumb, LaFleur told me, quote, "It's something he's been dealing with all year. He's one of the toughest dudes I know. He'd never use it as an excuse, but it's been a challenge."
Interesting. I mean, that's something that we've obviously heard for a while now. They've got a lot of different issues. We'll get to that in a second, but let's go back to the Cowboys for now. Teddy, when you look at Zeke, you heard they said they're taking a conservative approach. What do you think they should do at running back today?
Well, of course, the obvious answer is Tony Pollard, and when he gets the carries, he does explosive things with them. Now his max carries is 14. Now I really believe Zeke is important to the success of this team, even the long-term success in terms of winning a championship. Because I don't know if I want Tony Pollard as a lead back. Because there is a difference between being someone that comes in as a changeup and getting a maximum of 14 carries in your career, and then being a guy that does it all the time. It's almost like you lose a number 1 receiver, then okay, our number 2 is just the number 1. It's not the same. Ross knows this, and we as defenders know this too. There is a constant pounding on a running back throughout the course of a game that I don't know if Tony Pollard is ready for. I would rather have both of them. So what I'm trying to say is, Zeke, you got to be there for this team. And whenever Zeke is there, that's when I think the Cowboys are at their best.
Didn't you see that man in that Vince Lombardi coat? You don't know. you don't walk in a few minutes ago. And one thing that Ed talked about was them 7 studs. One thing we know about 7 studs, hey, it's not going to be a lot of moving out there as far as wide receiver and route running. That means that Dallas plans to run the ball. So for me, just looking at it, you're talking about the running back comparison. One thing that I always said, that it seemed like both of those guys were competing. But, Brew, I would definitely agree with you. You're talking about a guy used to getting 20 and 30 carries opposed to being the changeup. I like Pollard as the changeup. It's important for Zeke to get out there and play this evening.
Yeah, I don't know that it's that important today. I completely agree that it's important for the season. And Zeke came back a little bit early from an injury in his career and wasn't the same Zeke. So, we'll see. But I think Dallas has a good thing going right now. The other team, though, they're struggling. I mean, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I think the thumb is a lot worse than he's letting us know. I mean, clearly he doesn't look like Aaron, and they just look a little out of sync. Now, I actually think he's going to get healthy, and I think, I know he has access to the same film that I have access to, and he's going to learn from, say, last week against Detroit. They were all over him. His eyes just were never in the right spot at the right time, just out of rhythm. Tight end, wide open, middle read, bender, too deep. He's right there. But Aaron's
happy feet.
A little bit late. Yeah, they're just like, they're out of rhythm. But then they're just pressing and trying to do too much. This is 2nd and 10. Try to get half of it back. It's an 8-0 game. Boom. You audible to this. Aaron Jones is right there. Give us 3rd and 3. Instead, that's not it, right? And so, like I said, Aaron Rodgers knows this. He knows this as well as anybody. I think he gets it fixed, but it's just unrecognizable. When you look at the film, you look at number 12 in Green Bay, that just doesn't look like him. Something else is going on. And it's been bad football. So do I think he gets it fixed? I do, but it's just it's pretty shocking to see him playing that way.
There's just one thing I don't see him getting fixed. I mean, we constantly talk about the quarterback position here, and we bring up leadership. We talked about Jalen Hurts earlier on. I mean, it's just the way Aaron has been is, I know the frustration is there, and I'm all for throwing tablets once in a while. It's okay. You can get upset. You can get in somebody's face, but the constant complaining, the constant yelling at people, yelling back at LaFleur, yelling at your receivers, it transitions from leadership to just bitterness. And I think that's affecting him too. I don't know. I mean, he's just not putting out there a master class of leadership. Okay, and if the thumb is bothering him, I understand. But all that stuff, I'm just getting tired of the complaining, and I'm not seeing any leadership from Aaron. I think that's something he's got to work out.
Leadership, excuse me, Rex. Leadership will be on full display tonight. Looking at a guy like Aaron Rodgers. Earlier in the show, I remember Dak Prescott said something about being there for their head coach, going back to Green Bay for the first time. I know the Dallas Cowboys are going to be ready to play, and Dak is going to be ready to lead his team. I'm looking for Aaron to lead his team.
I need to see some leadership out of LaFleur, because I think, to your point, Teddy, he needs to sit back and tell Aaron Rodgers, like, hey, dude, just take care of yourself. I know you're frustrated. I see the same problems. Let me handle the rest of these guys. You handle yourself, because that's what they need Aaron Rodgers to be him, to play to that level. And right now, I think he's letting everything else get to him. When I saw this team last week, number one that amazed me, they're breaking the huddle at like 12, 13 seconds. Yeah. Now, if you're going to audible like Aaron Rodgers always does and have that control piece, you got to get out of the huddle quicker. Like, to me, I just think that this team, I don't think they get it.
I wonder if he's going to play differently because Mike McCarthy's coming back on the other sideline, though. Like, that's an interesting thing. You know, I just remember when Mike Holmgren came back to coach when he was in Seattle, he coached in Green Bay. Like, Brett Favre played differently in front of Mike Holmgren. I just wonder if we see like the old Aaron Rodgers because Mike McCarthy's the guy on the other sideline.
To me, he's playing, when you showed those clips against the Lions, he's playing like someone who's been done wrong in the past. Like, even if the next relationship is good, you're still acting like it's not because of what you've been through. It feels like the first half of the season, guys were running the wrong routes, things were not there, that even though things seem to be getting better and guys are getting open, history. Diggs was traded to the Bills in March of 2020. Then the Vikings drafted Jefferson just a month later with a first-round pick from Buffalo. Over the last 3 seasons, Diggs has the second most catches in the NFL, and Jefferson leads the league in receiving yards. So I'd say it worked out well for both, but Randy, if you had to choose, who got the better end of the deal?
Oh, it's hard.
Well, when you look at the numbers that Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen is putting up, you got to go with those guys. They're having the most success. But hey, ask me in a couple more years who got it, because I like what the Vikings are doing, Sam.
Well, I think one of the reasons it's such a win-win, though, is they took a veteran wide receiver with a young quarterback, and then you had a veteran quarterback with a young receiver, and it worked out perfectly.
It's a win-win. I like that. Just smiles all around as we see the guys getting going.
That's not a good answer.
Kimberly Martin, you guys both gave suspect answers. Our Kimberly Martin has all the answers. She's in Buffalo with the very latest.